Oh, that's a book, the X-Men book. Pretty much written almost exactly like the movie. There's virtually no difference. But, you know, it doesn't need batteries. Let's have a beer, a strong beer, and talk about empathy, because that's like the theme of the X-Men is I don't think about being different. Um, I don't think really it's about having superpowers. I think that's the hook. It's really about people taking the time to do what they think is right, and I think that it's based on empathy, on fitting in, on like being an outcast and wanting to step up and help and homogenize everybody, you know, to see past, you know, the color of the skin or what sets you apart from others. And if you're actually into the comics, I've got like a ton of X-Book comics here. Um, like the Danger Room and the exercises they do, like all the training that's involved. There's some really, like, especially early on, like, when I remember, like, Jean Grey can, like, telekinesis, could move things around with her mind. One of the things she's doing is moving a book through different hoops and slots. You know, the book needs to rotate and slide through a slot and then come around and go through the circle, so it has to go through that way. Simple, basic things. So, and to me, what the story is saying is that, like, you may not be capable of some things, but you could work towards that. Maybe even empathy's that way. I was so frustrated at something, and I thought to myself almost kind of sarcastically, it must be so great to be irresponsible. And suddenly I realized I had never felt like I tried to see something from somebody who's irresponsible from their viewpoint. Like that whole why bother? You know, like you go through like some people aren't going to like you anyway. Some people aren't going to appreciate it. Some people are going to appreciate it, but not like you. I almost thought, like, how great would it be just to be like just selfish and self-involved and lacking in empathy or caring about anyone else other than like your still self-centered self. Self-centered self. Actually, it reminds me of a couple more books that I got here. I got a bunch of these. I hate that book. The whole thing. One of the books. I don't know. I didn't even look at the title. It's one of the negotiation books. One of them is you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate for. And once again, I think that comes from like this self-centered. I know people that have no justification or claim upon certain things that will flat out try to claim the majority and hope they'll just get, like, you know, a fourth of something they have no claim on. To me, that's despicable. To me, if I had something, I would look to see, like, what can I share with the people that I care about, or what do the people where I see have a need? What can I help and provide? A long time ago, it was my time, because I had lots of time and no money. And now that I don't have a lot of time, now it's my money. I don't think that this message would mean anything to anyone other than me. but what you invest in others might not ever come back to you, um, but it enriches you as a person. That kindness and empathy that you feel for others, I think that it's part of what makes me feel calmer, uh, happier, more likely to feel positive emotions, like love and caring and affection, and to be interested in things. Some people seem like their interest is dead. And I imagine if like you're like how you interact with people tends to be a dead end, then you're like thinking like, oh, I could go join this hiking group, and then like what would stop you is the fact that like typically when as people get to know you, they don't want to hang out with you because you're selfish and are not interested in other folks. Actually, three. I just thought, like, in my top of my mind, I just thought the three most selfish people I could think of. They don't read books. That was part of the thing. Like sometimes, like one of them does something, and I want to say, you're just like a character in a book. Haven't you ever read a book where someone behaved that way, and like, it's written down how the community responds, and it's not a positive way, and here you are, just like using it like an instruction manual. How to make the community dislike you. And something I say a lot when I see somebody who's like seems to not care about others. I want to know who their role model is. And in my mind, I think they don't have one. They're not aspiring to be anything greater than themselves. They just want things for themselves. To look beyond themselves for an ideal, a male or female ideal, or just the idea of like a character from the X-Men books. Which character are you? Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes I get just a little flash insight into what a person is like that. And I know that there's actually mental conditions that make it unlikely for people to feel compassion for others. And that's not what I'm talking about. I heard an excellent, was it Think Out Loud? It was something on OPB about this woman's career. She was like a doctor in her like late 40s or early 50s, and she realized she had, I believe, it's Asperger's disease. You just don't feel empathy for anybody, and your life is confusing. Like everyone's getting these signals that you just don't pick up on. And she wanted to do some treatment, and there's something about dragging magnets across her head, and all of a sudden she's like reading a line like, "Help me, someone's breaking into my house." And then they do the treatment. She's like, "Help me, someone's breaking into my house." And suddenly she's like, "Oh my God, what a nightmare that would be!" Like, you wake up smashing glass, you're disoriented. Is this a dream? Where did that sound come from? Is someone in my home? What should I do? Everything that sentence evokes in you, this person didn't have for their entire life, and like woke up to it and was almost more miserable because of it. She went into this spiral of depression. That's another thing. That's like, why would you try to be self-aware if the first thing you're going to realize when you're self-aware is you've been a selfish prick?